Yo, what is going on YouTube? I'm Blitz5, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a old-fashioned gameplay commentary over some Battlefield 1. The reason why I'm showing this gameplay is because the plane I just spawned in right there a few seconds ago, I actually stay alive and remain in this plane for the entire game, which is insane in Battlefield 1. So I start in this plane, I fly around, and I don't die for the entire match. I actually ended up going 28-0, which I thought was pretty ridiculous. But the simple fact that I stayed alive in the plane the entire game is the impressive feat, not really how many kills I got, but either way, getting 28 kills in the plane is pretty awesome, so I was happy about that. But there's anti-aircraft guns. The enemies can take you down with a sniper, a heavy machine gun, a tank, other planes. All that stuff can take you out. Not to mention the fact that like you can just crash trying to maneuver around people, or you can't repair in time. It's not easy to repair and fly the plane if you're not familiar. So I thought the whole thing was pretty ridiculous, and I had to cut it up into all the exciting moments and funny moments and post it onto YouTube. So I hope you guys enjoy this video because it was pretty crazy. And right here is a funny moment that I had where I was being a dick flying over the enemy base upside down, which I like to do sometimes because it's kind of rude if they see you like flying upside down, you're just bombing them. And I hit the top of my plane and somehow did not die. I walked away with 42% health and was able to repair, which I don't know how that happened. Usually if you hit something, you just blow up, but occasionally it like kind of glitches out and you do stay alive. So that was lucky for me there. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using the attack plane. Occasionally throughout this video, you'll probably see somebody in the back of my plane in my squad. Occasionally I ask them to get into the back of the plane because it's really hard to get kills when you're the back gunner. As kind of like a criticism of the game, they did not make that great. But you need a back gunner for moments like this. There was a guy kind of chasing me, and I can kind of like I can try to evade him and get out of the way. But the fact is that the gunner, if he's hitting the plane a lot, he can actually take out the planes faster than they can take out me with their front turret or whatever on the plane. So it's super helpful to have the back gunner in cases like that. Even though I almost died here, if it wasn't for him, I would have definitely died, because if they're a good pilot, it's really hard to evade them. And basically whoever gets behind the other plane usually wins. Unless it's like a faster plane, like the fighter plane or whatever. If you're in the faster plane, you can usually get away, but if you're in the slower plane, it doesn't really work. So something I want to say about that is that I'm using the attack plane now because when the game first started, I was using the bomber plane because it just seemed more appealing because you could drop more bombs and get more damage on the infantry. But it kind of turns out that because that plane is so slow, you end up getting shot by tanks and all that stuff because they can line up their turrets and just take you out, or other planes just pick you off. And if anybody's on the AA gun on the ground, you're not moving too fast, so they can just kind of line up and take shots at you all day. So it looks like a lot of people have moved to the attack planes and fighter planes because that's like the best. And usually I've seen the best flyers go in the fighter jets, but then you can't really do as much damage to the ground. There are different airplane kits that you can choose. It's easy to do this if you have the app. You can pick between the different airplane kits, or before you select the plane when you launch in the game, you can kind of go through and select the different kits, and there's one that drops kind of like bombs on the ground. But without digressing too much, that plane to me is just not as fun to fly because you can't do as much damage to the ground, you're not dropping bombs. So the attack plane is the happy middle, and that's what you see a lot of people doing because you have the turret in the front, you can drop the bombs, and I also have a spot flare, which is really nice. So for example, I can fly over a point and drop the spot flare and then come back, like make a U-turn, and then drop bombs over anybody that I saw there, or kind of hit with the turret. And then a lot of times, if there's a tank on the ground, the bombs don't do a lot of damage, so I can kind of go high up in the air and come down at an angle and try taking out the tank with my turret, or at least doing a decent amount of damage, which you'll see me do here. But right there, I took out another plane. The people flying on the enemy team were not that good, so it was kind of easy to take them out, I'll admit. Obviously, the enemy team was not that great, or else I would have 100% died during this match at some point because they would have really focused and taken me out. But, you know, there was a lot of times when I was pretty close to dying, and I'm at, like, right there. I was doing some ridiculous shit. Like, I was getting really ballsy trying to attack that tank, and the person in the back of my plane actually jumped out because they definitely did not trust me. I think that was Cypher 5, my buddy Andrew. And here I really thought I was going to die because at a certain point you just can't control the plane. Like, it's going down, you're trying to steer up, but the plane's going down because it's just taking so much damage. So at a certain point I got kind of tilted up, and I was able to repair the plane a little bit, and as soon as you get back into the 30s and 40s, you have more control over the plane. I was able to get it back to like full health. So after that, I was kind of trying to fly on the outskirts of the map and stay out of any damage. I don't know what's hitting me here, an attack plane or like a gun, but anytime someone's on an AA gun, I tried to stay away and go to the other side of the map because I just didn't want to get killed. And as soon as the game started getting more towards the end, I was definitely playing a little bit more cautiously, but I also wanted to post a good score and be kind of like, yo, I was in the plane the entire time, so I didn't want to hide away. And a decent amount of their team was in planes, and I think they were mostly in attack planes. But like I said, once you get behind somebody, it's really easy, at least if you've flown in the game a lot like I have. For some reason, when I get bored playing in Battlefield, I go into the planes, and I have a lot more fun doing it like that. And since I've flown a lot, I've kind of figured out like where the bombs are going to land. In situations like that, when there's just so many guys, you kind of just fly over and then drop the bombs and hope you get as many people as you can. So here was, I think, a nice... there's a moment here where we were doing a big comeback here on the match, and they all spawned at C, and I took out like a bunch of guys there. And I think this was actually a crazy comeback that I didn't mention in the past. We were down by like 100 points and we full capped them, and they were all spawning at C. So for the last like 5 clips, all I was doing was going back and forth, spot flaring and bombing C, and I just killed that guy like twice. And previously, if you were in the plane at the end of the game, it used to count as a death because you see the plane just kind of flies off into the distance and then it blows up. But they fixed that, so now it does not count as a death, and I ended up going, like I said, 28-0, which I thought was like ridiculous. And I wish I had some kind of like medal for being in the plane the entire time. The game recognized that I had the highest KD, but the fact that I was in the plane saying it for the millionth time, to me, was ridiculous. So I really enjoyed this gameplay. I really enjoy flying in Battlefield 1. It's just like the perfect balance, the speed, the weapons. It just seems really fair and normally not overpowered. Normally you don't stay alive the whole time. So yeah, I've just really enjoyed the way that they did it in this game. So I hope you guys found that amusing. As always, thank you all for watching. I'm Blitz5, and peace out.